Welcome to the Recalibrated Soul podcast. I'm Barbara Deo, your energetic engineer and metaphysical bestie. I am here to lift you up, clear the path, and help you raise your frequency down to the cellular level. Let's begin. Welcome to episode 1. Today we are diving into something incredibly close to my heart. This podcast was built to support my entire digital platform, the Recalibrated Soul, giving you a space to return whenever you need to align your energy. How did I become the accidental architect? I didn't set out to completely redesign my life. I was just simply navigating a long and winding road of personal healing, full of its own pivots and pitfalls. No one's path is the same, and I am not the authority on anything but my own life. But along the way, I found some tools that helped me stop trying to control the outside world and started doing something different. I began intentionally calling in the exact frequencies I wanted to feel. That intentional shift changed everything. It took me from a place of fear back into a life of true freedom. Because your life isn't broken, it's just miswired. Today, I am opening the doors to my brand new platform by sharing the entire first lesson of my course, The Foundations of Frequency, completely free. This focuses on the why behind the how. My personal story of the rise, the fall, and the deliberate rise back up again. So take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, and let's explore how to architect your own frequency. Welcome to the Foundations of Frequency. Introduction: The Accidental Architect. How I discovered the why. Hi there, that would be me. I am the Accidental Architect, and I'm so glad you're here. This course is the prequel to everything else I teach here on the platform. Before we dive into the how-tos and the methods of my other courses, we need to talk about the why. Why does frequency actually matter? Why do the heart, the nervous system, and the subconscious hold the keys to everything you see when you open your eyes in the morning? For a long time, I lived like most of us do, thinking that if I just worked harder, thought longer, or fixed enough of my problems, that things would finally click. I've hit the roadblocks, I've taken the long, muddy detours, and I've sat in the basement frequencies of shame and fear more times than I'd like to admit. The accidental invocation. But then one day, I decided to do something different. Instead of letting my mind spiral while driving to and from work, I started an invocation of the heart. I wasn't following a method. I was just calling in the elements I wanted in my life because the ones I currently had weren't working anymore. I didn't have a plan yet, but by repeating those words, I began to climb the tree. Hand over hand, steady and intentional. It was a safe way to climb. My go-to elements were, and still are, peace and love, ease and grace, joy and harmony, immunity and abundance, health and prosperity. I simply repeated those words over and over for the 40-minute round trip drive. I then added in an invocation calling in my higher self, universal source energy, and my angelic team, and taking light codes through my chakras, organs, and body systems. I didn't set out to hack the system, and it certainly wasn't intentional. I just wanted to feel better. Whatever was coming out of me was from another dimension, another version of me, maybe? I don't know. And then something magical started to happen. It clicked. The world around me started to shift fast. My income skyrocketed because I was finally vibrating at abundance instead of survival. My healing abilities revealed themselves louder than ever. I began having miraculous, spontaneous results in my sessions. The ideas started flooding in, high-level, crystal-clear downloads that I couldn't even have comprehended a few months prior. I felt like I was in control again of my reality. I started to see that I could, in fact, shapeshift to disassemble and reassemble again in the blink of an eye. It was all a matter of how I was vibrating. Yet at the same time as my frequency lifted, the lower vibrational situations in my life started to get rocky. My 12-year relationship finally ended because it was long overdue. We literally couldn't be in the same room together without an eruption. The business we had together imploded and died. I started to connect the dots. I was recognizing the outcomes of my patterns. I stopped trying to fix my life and started looking at my frequency. The 3-year high. That shift led to 3 years on a high timeline of massive abundance. My income skyrocketed. I felt unstoppable. I felt free. Then the bottom fell out. I fell from the tree. My mother began a long, grueling battle with Alzheimer's. She required all of my attention and energy, and I made the conscious decision to bench everything else in my life, my career, my growth, my goals, to focus entirely on her. My cup was full. I had nowhere left to hold my own life. I figured I would simply pick up the pieces later once she was gone. Also looking back, I can see that the universe was putting the biggest obstacles they could find in my way so I would stop the path that I was on. During that time, my ex defaulted on a $250,000 loan that I had co-signed on. And then, even worse, he abandoned my son completely. While that was definitely a devastating blow to my son, I could see that his instability was a frequency that simply could no longer exist in our space. Nevertheless, my internal atmosphere was a cocktail of guilt, shame, regret, and grief. Because that was the signal I was broadcasting, the bottom feeders arrived right on cue, circling my vulnerability like sharks. And because my frequency was so low, I let them in. My income plummeted. For me, this was not just a financial loss, it was an identity crisis. I gained weight and lost my sense of self. Entrenched in the muck at the bottom of the ocean, I was spiraling, and I knew it, but I wasn't ready to shift yet. I had to let the grief move through me. I began writing poetry as a way to bleed the density onto the page. 200 poems, and 3 years later, I finally reached the choice point. I was ready to face the truth. I had co-created this experience. But without that deep deconstruction, I wouldn't have arrived here, divinely prepared and ready to rise. But here's the honest truth. Consciousness isn't a straight line. It is a spiral. Even as a teacher who understands these laws, I still got off track. In that newfound space of freedom, my ego took the wheel. I decided to open a physical retreat center in the exact same space as the failed business I had with my ex, just to prove I could do it. During a meditation, however, I received a crystal clear message. You don't need a space. Wait, what? But I had a space, and my ego wanted revenge. I wanted to prove my worth to people who didn't even matter. I was trying to build a sanctuary out of a frequency of spite. Never a good place to create from. The universe is persistent. When I ignored the internal broadcast, the external world started showing me the mismatch. My income dropped to a point that it removed my ability to pay for that massive overhead. So what did I do? I took out another loan. I created more debt and more desperation because I was going to prove my point. A swindler entered my space and another broken engagement. And then my mom died. I didn't think I could sink any lower. These weren't just bad luck events. They were baseline system errors, telling me that I was navigating a timeline that was no longer a match for my soul. But that low vibe relationship served a purpose. He was the instigator to help me shut that space down when I didn't have the strength to do it myself. My ego screamed that $1 million and a decade of work was for nothing. But it wasn't. It led me to teaching yoga, which led to guided meditation, and eventually to here, creating this platform. I finally learned that when something is too difficult, when you're forcing, pushing, and white-knuckling, it's not it. I stopped fighting the mountain and started looking straight at it. That was the moment I finally chose the heart over the ego. I realized that we aren't just physical bodies bumping into things. We are high-tech transceivers. We are constantly broadcasting a signal, and the universe is a giant, non-judgmental mirror reflecting that signal back. But frequency doesn't just apply to you. It applies to the space around you, the rooms you walk into, the objects you interact with. Everything has a signature. When you change your signal, you start to notice how the spaces and objects in your life either rise to meet you or reveal themselves as a mismatch. Raising your frequency is not a chore. It's an invitation to feel better. Once you understand that the subconscious is just following orders and the nervous system is just looking for safety, you can stop fighting yourself and start leading yourself. This isn't about being perfect. It's about awareness. When you lift your frequency, you climb above the fog where the great ideas are already waiting for you. I spent years fighting in the quicksand, thinking I had a better plan. All that did was delay me. The road was there all along. I just couldn't see it through the mud on the windshield and the rocks I was dragging from my bumper. Realizing that higher levels of consciousness are actually accessible to you is the moment you are finally liberated. So, what is consciousness? Webster defines consciousness as the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. The state of being characterized by sensation, emotion, volition, and thought. A spiritual definition typically views it not as a byproduct of the brain, but as a fundamental life force energy that connects all living beings to a higher power or the universe. You are never stuck. Once you understand the why, you realize you are the one holding the remote control to the entire universe, to the entire multiverse. We are going to explore exactly what frequencies are, the technical values of the motherboard, and how to identify your current signal so you can finally understand the broadcast you've been sending. We are simply learning the language of the universe so you can speak it fluently. Thank you for spending your time with me. If the story of the accidental architect and this first lesson resonated with your energy, please know the journey doesn't have to end here. The full Foundation of Frequency course is published and waiting for you right now, along with a collection of guided meditations, affirmations, and invocations to support your path. You can explore all of these offerings or book a one-on-one energy healing session with me, either at my studio in Birmingham or via Zoom if you aren't in the area, simply by clicking the link in my show notes or visiting recalibratedsoul.com. Until next time, choose your frequency with intention, integrity, and inspired action. Give yourself permission to return to your heart. Live authentically and fully. Sending you grace and gratitude, love and light. Namaste, my friend. Namaste.